We have a couple clips of Fox News liberal Jessica Tarlov sounding off on her Fox co-hosts and their copium over Kamala knocking out the Fox News interview against all of their wishes, of course. So I thought we could look at a few of these clips just for some additional context to how Kamala did.
If there are any undecideds left, and I'm getting skeptical that there are many of them with 19 days to go, 18 days to go, or whatever, and maybe it's just between Kamala and the couch or Trump and the couch, I think she did accomplish that goal, because those people, if they're voting on immigration, I could guess how they're voting. If they're voting on reproductive freedom, I know how they're voting. And what Kamala Harris needed to do was to show up, to look tough, to not get rattled. I would disagree with my very generous colleague who brought me a gift today about her looking presidential. I think she handled herself really well, and she looked like the prosecutor who has won a lot of elections in the past.
In terms of looking presidential, there's no comparison between her and Trump. This is why Trump never raises this point. Kamala is the only professional presidential looking candidate. Trump instead just cries about 2020 and whines to play on people's fear or bigotry. And if you look at how both of them handled their tough interviews, Trump had to insult the reporter, blatantly tried to skip over questions, refused to answer questions he didn't like, and frankly, got embarrassed. While Kamala put it to Brett Baier, came off fierce, and honestly handled it better than the quote-unquote softball interviews that she had done before. Or, I mean, you could even look to the Univision town hall that they both did. Trump gave horrendous campaign momentum halting answers like guns used in school shootings need to be justified because people need them for sport. While Kamala answered her questions with grace, with poise, with empathy, the only reason that Trump has a chance in this election is because playing to people's fears, their paranoia, their racism, misogyny, whatever it is on the day, is a very powerful motivator. There's a lot of people with underlying senses of bigotry that maybe they don't even realize they have, because in terms of actually looking or actually being qualified for the job, it's Kamala, and it's not even close.
I think that she did particularly well in prosecuting the case against Donald Trump's character, when she discussed the enemy within comments that he made on Maria Bartiromo's show and then struggled to clean up, or actually just refused to clean up when he was talking to Harris in the town hall. And clearly they have message tested unstable, unfit, lacks the competency to do the job and the character. And that's where she is leading by really sizable proportions. So 7 million people saw her last night. If even a fraction of them were looking to feel confident that she could do the job, I think they would walk away from that saying that she can.
This is exactly right. And I mean, Fox News is just an absolute echo chamber where people only watch to have their views confirmed and never challenged. So who knows how beneficial it'll be on that note, or like in terms of like the people who watched it on Fox, which is why I always said it was a waste of time for her to do it. I mean, Fox is literally just a propaganda network, but I do think that in the contrast is where the benefit can be found, as Trump clearly showed that he can't handle being challenged in both the Bloomberg interview and the Univision town hall, where Kamala went right at Fox, right at Trump, and right at the questions of the voters, if we're speaking on Univision, which to independent, undecided voters draws a pretty stark contrast in terms of who they might want in office, who they might want negotiating with world leaders. And Jessica is also right that she did a wonderful job in pointing out how truly unqualified, unfit, and unable to do the job that a man like Donald Trump is.
When I watched her right in the beginning, she started pointing at Brett. She pointed at him throughout most of the interview. I found that very offensive. I thought that Brett did an excellent job of trying to get her to answer the questions. I think she was contentious. I think she made it clear that she has a short fuse.
I mean, hold on. This is desperation at its finest. She pointed at him. That is your point of contention? That's the line too far? For context here, I want to point out that when Trump went off on black journalists and personally insulted them, her and the entire MAGA portion of the panel cheered him on. When Trump snapped at Kamala for mentioning his crowd sizes and then said migrants are eating pets in an angry rage at the debate, her and the entire MAGA portion of the panel cheered him on. When Trump snapped at Bloomberg for literally just pointing out facts, her and the entire MAGA portion of the panel cheered Trump on. But they find Kamala offensive because she pointed. Can anyone even take these people serious? Like, are we being so for real? I don't know how anyone watches this show and thinks that they gained anything intellectually from it on the basis of politics. It really is all just about force feeding confirmation bias down their viewers' throats so they praise them and come back for more to a level that no other media does. I mean, CNN, like, relentlessly went at Joe Biden over cognitive issues. CNN calls out the Democrats for all kinds of stuff. They covered like Bob Melendez, they cover Hunter Biden, but you go on Fox and it's literally just them carrying water for Trump in every bit of way that they can. But when you have to resort to saying, well, she pointed, I think it's clear how well Kamala did in the debate and the inability of the right to admit it. It's copium.